I, olanipekun majoyeogbe, do solemnly swear that the evidence I shall give before this honorable commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Tell this honorable commission your name, address, and what you do for a living.
I am olanipekun majoyeogbe. I am a minister of the Word of God and a security consultant. After serving for a little less than a quarter of a century in the Nigerian Army.
You are served with a copy of petition written to this honorable commission by Chief Shuma Nzeribe. Do you have any response?
Absolutely so, my Lord.
Is it oral or written?
I have a written submission, but I'll have to make some additional statements because when I got the paper, my reaction was petition specific. But when I got into this place, I had all sorts of ridiculous things that had nothing to do with the petition. And I owe it a duty to my God and to my family whose names I'm standing in here in to react to those claims, whether they are petition specific or not. So my reaction is in writing.
He said he has a written petition.
Yes, sir.
But he wants to add to it.
I will add to it.
Hold it.
Yes, sir.
Let's tender the petition first, then tender the addendum second.
Yes, sir.
Petition is what exhibit? The submission or reaction or response. You call it submission. Response exhibit 21.
I seek to tender that, my Lord.
Exhibit 22. Yes. Yes, go on.
I want him to read with due respect.
He said you should read exhibit 22.
Give him.
How many pages?
Give him. Give him.
19 pages, sir.
19.
My Lord, can I proceed?
The case is that he ordered a search in Ihala. The search was ill-motivated, and then he got into trouble. Ultimately, he was retired. This is a summary.
With due respect,
That's
my
what
Lord.
is being alleged.
With due respect, my Lord, he said he was authorized, that they acted in concert. He needs to defend
Nobody
himself.
said, I'm telling you what their case, what they presented. Are you sure?
That is what he has responded to. With due respect,
Yes.
sir.
And consequently, he was compulsorily retired.
He's not even talking
That is
about,
not true, too.
He's not even talking about retirement.
All right,
with due
go. He's not
respect.
talking about that. I'll say it. Go on, read if you want.
The Chairman, Human Rights Violations Investigation Commission, the Presidency, Abuja. Sir, attempted assassination and planting of bombs and explosives and live ammunition in the house of Chief Chuma Nzeribe by officers of the Directorate of Military Intelligence and others. Reference of the letter I received. Introduction. Having solemnly affirmed to speak the truth and nothing but the truth, I suppose it is best to commence my testimony before this Honorable Commission by making a few introductory remarks. This is to ensure, my Lord, that my testimony is presented with utmost clarity for ease of comprehension by all interested parties. It is regrettable, my Lord, that in the course of this testimony, classified state secrets may be revealed. This will be done in every instance where it is inevitable. I will, however, do the utmost that I can to minimize the collateral damage to the security system to which I have belonged and helped to build for close to a quarter of a century. This will, however, not be at the expense of truth or clarity. My Lord, in preparing this written testimony, I was guided every inch of the way by your oft-repeated entreaty at previous public sittings of this commission that the conduct of this exercise is not adversarial. I promise, my Lord, that my reactions to questions to which I will make oral responses during the examination in chief, cross-examinations, and re-examination will be guided by the same attitude. It is my hope that all other parties to this petition have been similarly persuaded. Finally, my Lord, by the way of introductory remarks, I would like to establish that we are operating on the same sheet of music by confirming that the petition under investigation is petition number 1364, forwarded under the cover of a letter from the chambers of KHs in Wokolo and Co. Counsel to the petitioner, Chief Nzerube. I will further wish to establish, my Lord, that the petition has attached to it a copy of 7 pages of the news magazine of 18 August 1997. I wish, my Lord, to confirm that the statement of Captain Ebi Dulaha is before this commission, as well as a voluntary statement made by the petitioner, Chief Nzeribe, on 22nd July 1997. Having established this, that the documents to which we are going to make reference are already in evidence before this commission, may I now, my Lord, proceed to the next stage of my presentation. Scope. My Lord, my presentation will proceed as follows. In the first part, I will react point by point to every allegation made, issues raised, or arguments canvassed by the petitioner in the petition under reference or in the course of previous hearings. I may, my Lord, avert to other matters germane to the petition which are already in evidence before this commission. In the next phase of my presentation, I will do a summary of the matter under investigation and then express my opinion. Finally, my Lord, I pledge to strenuously avoid issues that have no relevance to the task of this commission. Comments on the covering letter to the petition. My Lord, I wish to commence my reaction by making comments on the covering letter by counsel to the petitioner. First, I wish to commend the counsel for being more discreet than the petitioner in the title of his letter to the commission. The title of the petition and that of the counsel differ in one major aspect. The petitioner alleged attempted assassination in the title of his petition. Counsel to the petitioner did not. It is my hope that the counsel deliberately left out the outrageous claim of attempted assassination because it is simply ridiculous and absolutely impossible to sustain. My Lord, counsel to the petitioner, however, made some assertions with which I am most disappointed. He averred, and I quote, Chief Nzeribe was detained by DMI for a continuous period of 10 months, 1st September 1997 to June 1998, for no just cause. DMI operation appears undoubtedly to be motivated by monetary gains and desire to impress the powers that were by suppressing all influential citizens. My Lord, the learned counsel is not exactly right. He does not appear to have all the facts. The petitioner probably withheld some important aspects from him. My Lord, the petitioner was in fact detained twice, not once as claimed by the counsel. The first detention was from 18th to 23rd July. This arrest and detention was sequel to a petition against the petitioner and other persons alleging the possession of bombs and other lethal materials. I, acting on the directives of my boss at the time, ordered the first arrest and detention. It lasted 6 days. It is this arrest and detention that I'm here to explain, defend, and justify. Counsel is right about the second detention. The second detention was as a result of yet another petition, this time written by the petitioner. I was not responsible for that, neither was any member of the team that carried out the initial arrests. Counsel is, however, wrong, my Lord, to have impugned ignoble motives into the operations conducted by DMI operatives. It is not true that the petitioner was detained, quote, without just cause, as alleged by counsel. Both arrests and detentions were on account of petitions, one by other persons against the petitioner, and the other by the petitioner against the Director of Military Intelligence. My Lord, petitions are quite intricate to process. Occasionally, they lead to detention of persons against whom they have been written. This is what happened in the case of the petitioner. Indeed, it is ironical that the petition against the petitioner earned him only 6 days in detention. The one he wrote earned him 10 months incarceration. His travels were therefore caused by petition. I hope the learned counsel to the petitioner is beginning to understand the matter about which he appears not to have been properly briefed. Allegations made or points raised by the petitioner. I would now like to react to every allegation that is made to the best of my ability. In the petition signed by the petitioner and dated 19 July 1999, he averred as follows, and I react as follows. Allegation number 1, that on 17 July 1997, some bombs and 2 cartons of live rounds were recovered from his uncompleted and uninhabited building in Ihiala in Anambra State. My reaction: this is true, my lord. Although the petitioner is inaccurate about the type and quality of what was recovered in his building, that does not distract from the fact that some offensive items were recovered from his building in Ihiala, Anambra State. My lord and honorable members of this commission, permit me to make a very important point now. No bomb was found in the building of the petitioner. Not one single bomb. There were cables and batteries and what looked like chemicals and some locally made explosive of the Nigerian Civil War vintage. Very crude, primitive contractions, and some cartridges of shotguns used for gaming and deployed by criminal gangs in robbery operations. My lord, permit me to now put in context the allegation under examination. Nobody was there at the time that it occurred. So unless you were put into the circumstances, it will be difficult to appreciate what we were talking about. I was Director, Defense Intelligence Production Center of the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps for 4 years, the first full-time director of that directorate. From 1994 to 1998, the spate of bombings in urban centers in Nigeria increased until it got to a crescendo. The Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps reacted by setting up an anti-terrorist task force, and I was appointed the commander of that task force. This was in addition to my primary assignment as Director, Intelligence Production Center. I had at my disposal for the task Special Operations Team, a crop of intelligence and security officers, in addition to financial and operational resources. Several foot, static, and mobile operations were mounted around the metropolis of Lagos. Permit me at this point, my lord, to appreciate the role of Brigadier General M.B. Marwa, who as Colonel and Military Administrator of Lagos State gave maximum support to the operations, including part funding and placing on every operation sweep vehicles DMI operatives of my task force. Military drivers were assembled in all major cantonments in Lagos and given full briefing on the threat and an update of the situation to ensure effective reaction in the event of any attack. Other parts of the nation were in constant touch with situation reports. At this point, several leads were discovered and followed up. Then, as usual with Nigerians, petitions started trickling in. Some looked plausible, others were simply ridiculous. It was in this electric atmosphere, my lord, that the petition was received, which was received what considered what investigating. It was the investigation of that petition that led to the discoveries in the petitioner's house. Allegation number 2, that he was detained for 6 days. Reaction to allegation number 2. This is also true, my lord. The petitioner was detained at the headquarters camp Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps Apapa for 6 days, whilst the petition and the discoveries were being investigated. It was during this period that he made the statement, which is already in evidence before the commission. He was in custody while the petition and the discoveries in this building were being investigated. His arrest and detention, therefore, were not without just cause. He was not simply picked up from the street. Allegation number 3. The petitioner claimed that he complained to the commandant of the camp in which he was held that he must have been framed, and an initial investigation was carried out, and so he was released. Reaction to allegation number 3. My lord, this is only partially true. It is true that the petitioner was released, but unaware of the reason for his release, the petitioner manufactured a reason. My lord, he was not released because of any investigation. Rather, he was released because, as the acting director of military intelligence told me, a relation of the petitioner gave him some more information into the matter. On the strength of that information, he ordered the release. Allegation number 4. The petitioner alleged that officers of the Directorate of Military Intelligence planted the items that were recovered. My lord and honorable members of the commission, I react as follows. Without meaning to trivialize this important exercise, I must describe this as the mother of all allegations. This allegation is ridiculous, false, fraudulent, vexatious, and wicked. My Lord, because it touches on the very essence of the petition, I crave your indulgence to react in some detail. 1. What needs to be determined here, my Lord, is who planted the crude materials found in the building of the petitioner. Let us proceed by subjecting to careful analysis the information we know in an attempt to answer this question. First, the petitioner alleged in his statement of July 1997 that he had no doubt that his local adversaries in his rural community must have planted the offensive items. In his statement, which is already in evidence before this commission, he stated in in page 2, paragraph 3, and I quote the petitioner, "Without doubt, this must be the handiwork of one Chief Victor Okafor." He then proceeded to justify his claim in 12 sub-paragraphs and 2 fresh paragraphs. The petitioner stated that he had absolutely no doubt this line of reasoning was being pursued when the investigation was aborted. My Lord, I consider it worthwhile to draw the attention of the commission to one major similarity between the statement of the petitioner in 1997 and the petition to this commission in 1999. The first page of his statement, of his 1997 statement, opened as follows, and I quote, "Patriots do not throw bombs. They discuss higher ideals of nation life." I don't know the meaning of that. It's atrocious English. Of nation life, liberty and development. I am a patriot. That was in 1997. In 1999, my Lord, in paragraph 6 on page 2, the petitioner states, "I am a patriot, and patriots do not throw bombs. They discuss the higher ideals of nationhood." My Lord, the significance of this statement is that it shows clearly that the petitioner wrote both statements. More importantly, however, it shows that the only major difference in the two statements aforementioned is the change in the direction of accusation. In other words, while stating in both statements that he's a patriot and patriots do not throw bombs, he accused his different persons of planting the bombs in his property. Perhaps patriots do not throw bombs, but if the petitioner is a patriot, which he may well be, then patriots are absolutely inconsistent liars. Second, my Lord, the petitioner claimed that the offensive materials were issued to me for, and I quote, "a May 4th operation against Major Koroma, the head of state of Sierra Leone." My Lord, neither the Nigerian Army nor the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps keeps the types of crude materials recovered in the building of the petitioner. They are not in our table of organization and equipment. They could not therefore have issued what they do not have. The items recovered were crude homemade contraptions. My Lord, I will return to the issue of the alleged operation against Major J.P. Koroma, former head of state of Sierra Leone, at the appropriate time in this presentation. Third, my Lord, the attached photocopies of the news magazine of 18 August 1997 claimed in screaming hysterical cover that indeed I, Colonel Ola Majoyeogbe, illegally looted the armory of the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps. Again, my Lord, I will react appropriately to this feather-brained allegation as appropriate. My Lord, it is clear from the few points above that the source of the recovered items, that the petitioner has not yet made up his mind on who planted them. At first, he was sure fellow rural politicians with whom he had been involved in the primitive politics of sustained petition writing planted them. Then he changed his story and ascribed the offensive items to the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps. Unfortunately, both claims contradicted the fiction published by a news magazine which he attached to his petition. It is clear, my Lord, that the petitioner is either confused or deliberately trying to mislead this honorable commission. I state categorically, without any equivocation whatsoever, that the team of security officers who recovered the items did not plant them. In spite of what anyone may claim or believe, officers of the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps are disciplined and patriotic professionals. Allegation number 5. The petitioner alleged that Colonel Idere and I and some other persons listed planned a frame-up. Reaction to allegation number 5. First, I'm not aware that there was a frame-up. But I cannot speak for the other person listed in the frame of team. But I'm sure, even from the testimonies of the witnesses so far, the commission must have discovered that the allegation just cannot be true. From what Colonel Denny has said about me in this commission, it is clear that there is no way light and darkness can work. Allegation number 6. That Brigadier General Sabo, Colonel Frank Omenka, and Captain B. Okoye knew about and helped to cover up the alleged crime, and the evidence that he had that security agencies were responsible for the bombings credited to Nadeko. How do I react? My Lord, I am not counsel to the officers against whom this allegation has been made. I am reacting to it only because it is made in the petition in which I have been mentioned. Nevertheless, my Lord, permit me to float a poser. Could it be that the petitioner is only trying to draw undeserved attention to himself by smearing as many officers as possible? Allegation number 7. The petitioner claims to have conducted initial investigations which revealed some findings. He then proceeded to make 4 other strange allegations as follows: that the recovered items were officially issued to me for an operation in Sierra Leone. 2, that the recovered items were deposited in my official residence when the team returned from the operation. C, that one of the cars used in the operation was a personal car. And 4, that the arresting team planted the bombs and they knew it was a frame-up because they told the senior officer before leaving for the operation. How do I react to these multiple allegations? Number 1, I shall now react to each of these allegations which the petitioners claim are a product of his initial investigation. First, my Lord, I crave your indulgence. I would like to proceed to the alleged operation against Major J.P. Koroma when he was head of state of the Republic of Sierra Leone. My Lord, I admit I undertook some operations to Sierra Leone during the civil war in that country. None of the operations in which I operated was against Major Koroma or any other individual. The first operation, my Lord, was in September 1996. A coup attempt had been foiled in that country. The government of Ahmed Tijan Kaba requested Nigeria to send a team of investigators to unravel the mystery of that coup. My Lord, I admit in public today, to the glory of God, that I was considered senior and professionally competent enough to be appointed president of that international investigation panel. The investigation lasted 3 months, from September to December 1996, after which I handed in an official report and returned to Nigeria with my team of excellent security officers drawn from within the intelligence community in Nigeria. My Lord, I request this commission that this commission takes notice of this fact. I did not know Major Koroma before I left for the assignment in Sierra Leone. My brief for the assignment did not mention his name. Major J.P. Koroma was a battlefield battalion commander. The investigations led to him. He was implicated and charged accordingly. He was in maximum security prison when I flew out of Freetown in 1996 in a presidential jet. These are the bare facts of the operation. Both the president and vice president of Sierra Leone were to publicly commend the quality of my report in separate BBC interviews, one of which was reported by the best Nigerian newspaper, The Guardian. So, how did the petitioner arrive at the falsehood that I undertook an operation against Major J.P. Koroma? This is how rumor mongers invite the wrath of security agencies. It will be appropriate, for instance, for the security agencies responsible for counterintelligence to take an interest in the source of this falsehood which the petitioner has been spreading. If they were to do that, which is their legitimate duty, another petition will be written alleging human rights violations. Meanwhile, no one is restraining the petitioner from dabbling into areas of sensitive national security matters. My Lord, I however undertook other operations. The next operation became necessary in 1997. Major J.P. Koroma and his collaborators were sprung from jail by another group of coup plotters. The major was promptly appointed the head of state of that country. He invited the Revolutionary United Front elements to join his administration, and the troops attacked the Nigerian soldiers in that country under the command of now late General Ojoko Jome. So rest in peace. The Nigerian troops fought back gallantly, but they were beaten back and encircled on the outskirts of Freetown. The information from the theater of war was very confusing. The Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps was directed to procure up-to-date, accurate intelligence on the situation. My Lord, the same Colonel SME Dehere, who has been maligning me before this commissioner, before the world, appointed me the commander of the Nigerian Army Intelligence Special Undercover Operations to Operation Sandstorm. When the chiefs were down, when we had difficulties, I was good enough. The team was set up in response to the crisis. I was the commander. My Lord, again, I request the commission to take notice of the fact that I was issued AK-47 assault rifles for me and my team. That is the best assault rifle in the world, with full complements of first-line ammunition. My Lord, no bombs were issued to us because none was required for the operation. The reason is simple. In that kind of operation, my Lord, members of team do not accept or offer combat, but they accept combat if only it is necessary to extricate the team. This is very easily verifiable from official sources. Therefore, my Lord, where did the petitioner get the false information that I was issued bombs for use against Major Koroma, the head of state of Sierra Leone? This petitioner is a pathological liar. Incidentally, my Lord, Major J.P. Koroma is alive and well. Indeed, during my first operation, the first operation I conducted as undercover commander, I met Major J.P. Koroma as head of state in the presence of 3 other Nigerian army officers. We were directed by the head of state to negotiate a surrender of power to the democratically elected government of President Tijan Kaba. At that meeting, Major Koroma remarked that he was impressed with the coup investigation I submitted to the government he ousted. He had a copy on the table, and he advised that we should make a copy available to General Sani Abacha because the report demonstrated a good understanding of the problem in Sierra Leone. My Lord, this was the same report which recommended him for trial for high treason and other offenses. My Lord, how can the petitioner lie so flagrantly about a matter which he knows nothing about and which is even not entitled to know? Maybe the security agencies responsible for counterintelligence may wish to invite him to explain how he came about this falsehood. Second, my Lord, the petitioner alleged that the recovered items were deposited in my official residence. An incredibly ridiculous comment which Colonel Dehere has just repeated. My Lord, without undue waste of time of the public and the world who is watching this program live, I state that this is another lie. No recovered items were deposited in my house. How could I have deposited or allowed to be deposited in my residence crude items of uncertain source and nature? This is crazy. Third, my Lord, that one of the cars used was a personal car. Again, some kind of spurious allegation which has just been repeated. What is my reaction? I am not aware that this is an offense. I had officers and men and other resources that I deployed, and I deployed all of them as I considered appropriate in the circumstances. I probably made about 20% of all arrests I made in close to 1/4 of a century in the service using my personal car. Finally, my Lord, the petitioner alleged that the arresting team planted the bombs and that they told a senior officer before they left that they knew that the operation was a frame-up. Incredulous. My Lord, I do not mean to be rude or offensive, but the only way to describe this allegation accurately is to classify it as stupid. How can someone going to frame up someone else go and report himself before going to do so? This is a lie out of desperation. The brilliant army captain who led the team reported to his immediate boss, a lieutenant colonel, before leaving for the operation. He also reported on his return. He acted properly in both instances, and no amount of mischief can change the situation or can cause the situation to be misrepresented by the petitioner or his agents or privies, as the case may be. Allegation number 8. The petitioner alleged that based on the mountain of evidence he had, he petitioned the Chief of Defense Intelligence for redress. He expressed surprise that the petition was quote and unquote endorsed to the DMI, who promptly arrested and detained him because he quote knew too much facts to allow a cover-up. Again, atrocious English. Reaction to allegation number 8. My Lord, this allegation is not against me. However, since this is a fact-finding commission, I offer very briefly as follows. The mountain of evidence on which the petitioner based his petition, his words has just been systematically destroyed. The petitioner assembles half-truths outright lies, rumors, and innuendos, and presents them as facts with the hope of deriving some benefit therefrom. When this backfires, he writes further petitions, crying wolf. I submit, my Lord, that this is a very dangerous profession, and I use the word profession absolutely advisedly. Summary. My Lord, honorable members of this commission, counsel to the petitioner, I crave your indulgence to conclude this presentation by summarizing the matter under investigation to the best of my ability. From the facts now available, the issue started with a furious exchange of petitions between the petitioner and other rural politicians like him involved in primitive politics. When bomb explosions became the #1 threat to national security, a petition was received in the Directorate of Military Intelligence making allegations of possession of bombs and other legal materials against the petitioner. He was arrested after a search in his property revealed some items as alleged. He was, however, released 6 days into his detention by the appropriate authority. He wrote another petition in the name of a redress. He was promptly rearrested whilst the investigation was going on. A few months later, my Lord, Chief Victor Okafor, who he accused of the initial petition and planting of the devices, died. When this honorable commission was set up, the petitioner decided to write another petition. So that the petition may fall within the terms of reference of this commission, he changed the direction of his attack from his fellow rural and primitive politicians to DMI operatives. In doing this, he drew attention to the false and cruel publication in the news magazine of 18 August 1997. He, and surprisingly his counsel, failed to notice the contradictions between his account and the ridiculous publication of the news magazine. Now that this has failed, as I believe that it has, there is no guessing what petition the petitioner will write next and who will be the subject of his attack. His petitions have the main quality of a chameleon. They change to suit the environment. My Lord, as I close, I crave your indulgence to make a few remarks about the news magazine, photocopies of which was attached to the petition in support of his false claim. That publication, my Lord, is essentially but not totally fictitious. When the trash hit the streets, an in-law of mine called from the United States that he had read the publication and was wondering why I will decide to loot the armory of my department in the army. I told him that this claim is crazy. It's as crazy as saying an editor committed burglary to steal a ball pen. My Lord, the armory of military intelligence is virtually impossible to burgle. It is well fortified and manned round the clock by some of the best military intelligence personnel on the continent of Africa. But since the publishers of the news magazine must make money, blood money, and since they lack both the intellect and professional competence, they must publish fiction. It is strange to me that no proven case of publication of fiction by the press has been sanctioned by the NUJ. There were other equally ridiculous claims in that publication, one of which is that the directorate mounted an operation with 250 men to arrest a civilian. My Lord, this is sheer exaggeration. In close to a quarter of a century which I have spent in the army, I am not aware of any arrest that required the participation of 50 DMI personnel, even when the person to be arrested was serving generals with troops. But the news magazine must exaggerate. My Lord, is there nobody in this country who can discourage the publication of falsehood? The team of the news magazine have very fertile imagination which can be useful elsewhere in the publication of fiction, such as Amos Tutuola's The Forest of 1,000 Demons, or Ali Baba's and 40 Thieves, or Eze Goes to School, or Animal Farm. This is the kind of thing they should be writing because they are very imaginative and not continue to deceive people and make blood money. My Lord, they will be very successful. They will win the Nobel Award for fiction. My Lord, permit me to salute the giants of the profession, such as Alade Odoewu, Uncle Bisi Lawrence, Bola Bogusanwo, Pini Jasin, Kola Animashaun, Tijudare Eku, and the entire team of Newswatch, Fred Ohaha, Kingsley Osadolo, and of course the unput-downable Dr. Ruben Abati. I appeal to these giants to get together and fashion out strategies for protecting the profession before fiction writers ruin it. Finally, my Lord, I as I close this presentation, I would like to solemnly declare that all the actions that I took and the orders that I gave in connection with the matter under investigation were in absolute good faith. If I were confronted again with the same set of circumstances, I would do exactly what I did in 1997. I accept absolute and unconditional responsibilities for all the actions taken by my subordinates pursuant to the order that I gave. It would be very unfortunate and unfair for any of them to be rebuked in any way, since they were carrying out the orders about which they had no choice. The most senior of them was a captain. I cannot imagine a situation in which a captain could have failed to take orders from a colonel, having carried out the orders which the colonel has not denied issuing. I most respectfully submit that they simply drop out of the matter if there is any indictment whatsoever. My legal friends have told me that qui facit per alium facit per se. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm told that what it means is that if somebody does something on your behalf, you are responsible for that action. I want to repeat, those officers and men should be left absolutely alone. They took orders from me, and I accept every consequence that may result from that action. My Lord, unless this type of declaration is made, the security system in this great nation will be destroyed by people like Colonel Idehere. Security personnel, be they military or civilian, must have the assurance that having carried out superior orders, they stand no risk of indictment. If that assurance is not available, it will be impossible to operate the security system of this nation, since everyone will seek to obtain orders in writing, if only to provide proof in the event of a commission such as this. No security system in the world operates like that. My Lord, I'd just like to give this example. Very soon, when you guys call the police to come and rescue you in the case of an armed robbery, a senior police officer will give orders, and the policeman will say, Oga, put them for writing. By the time they do all that kind of, excuse me, I almost said something nasty, but I'm a man of God. By the time to do that, you will wish that these people like Colonel Idehere were not born. But I must let the petitioner, Chief Chuma Nzeribe, know that I had nothing against him. Nothing personal. I still have nothing against him, and I'm unlikely to have anything personal against him, because I love him with the love of God. Although I have never met him, and I do not have the foggiest idea what he looks like until a few days ago, I know that he is made like all mankind in the image and likeness of God. So he is deserving of love, admiration, and respect. I have no apologies for the inconveniences he suffered. He brought them upon himself. I will continue to pray that God will help him to mend his way and stay out of trouble. My Lord, Mr. Chairman, honorable members of this commission, learned counsel to the petitioner, other distinguished members of the bar and bench here present, I rest my case. If there be any questions arising from this presentation, I am prepared, willing, and able to answer those questions. But now I must seek your indulgence, my Lord. This was my response. Petition specific, no frills, no nothing, until I got here and I started to hear the repetition of some of those things which had been said many years. And so I must now react to some of the things that you have heard in this place, which will probably be difficult to understand. Allegation number one. Colonel Idehere said before this commission that I am so brilliant that, man, he said the guy has a degree in English. Yes, I have a degree in English, but I reject his own kind of praise. I do not know whether I'm brilliant, but he has said again and again that I wrote a paper in the War College. Since he was allowed to make that kind of statement, which is absolutely irrelevant, I must be allowed to react fully. And I would like to explain to the whole world. My Lord, before anybody goes to War College, you have to qualify. I have not qualified to go to War College. That paper, if you call the evidence now, was said to be the best research paper. In War College, you have senior police officers, AIG. You have generals from the army everywhere in the world. You have diplomats. One colonel who has not qualified to go to War College now wrote a paper that was so good it was declared the best. Come on now. They say give a dog a bad name to hang it. Many times they give you a good name, they just wanted to put me in trouble. That is all. It is true that I was useful to the brigadier as I have been useful to all 9 directors of military intelligence under whom I serve, including one of my juniors. I am a proper zombie. Just appointed, whether it is a Dehere who is brainless or some generals, General Aliyu Muhammad, General Akilu, Lieutenant General Chris Ali, all these generals, I served under them with distinction. And when they now put me under my junior, and I'll talk about that, I still served him. Yet he was just trying to put me in trouble. He started this rumor. Himself and one fellow, a certain Colonel...
Excuse me.
Yes.
Let us come.
No, please, let me conclude this part.
Excuse me, let us come. Wait.
Oh, this guy is taking too much time to come. Lord, please, I have to conclude this part.
Excuse me, wait.
You are interrupting.
Let us talk about the petition first. We will have a...
No, I am sorry, counsel. Let me finish my speech. Then you can take the thing on. I refuse. Lord, please. He's going to break the flow because this is not written. You are going to break the flow. I'm sorry. Lord, General Sabo went to War College in September 1996. At that time, this same fellow, Colonel Dehere, recommended me to the president. They wanted this international panel to investigate a coup. I have never investigated a coup in Nigeria. But when the reputation of Nigeria was at stake, I was nominated and given a presidential jet to investigate a coup in Sierra Leone. 3 months I was out of the country. General Sabo was in the War College. I came back. As soon as bombs started flying, the same Colonel Dehere gave me 100,000 naira and say, you know that you're, because he speaks in English, you know you be our guy and help us now. I was appointed the commander of the task force and I was doing this job. Lord, before I finished, there was trouble in Sierra Leone. Nobody went could enter Sierra Leone after our troops were attacked. And then he came to me again with the same Colonel Keyemi. Oga, you know, say you get passes. Come and go there. My Lord, at this time, Major Koroma that I arrested and put in prison was head of state. I said, but you see, the man that I put in prison is head of state. He said, have you the fear? I said, okay, I'll go. Then I went and I was shuttling between Sierra Leone and Nigeria. Very, very dangerous operations. When did I have the time to write a paper that will now beat the whole world? God forgive Colonel Dehere. No, I mean that seriously. God forgive Colonel Dehere. I was just not available, either investigating coup in Sierra Leone or pursuing people throwing bombs or going back to Sierra Leone undercover. And he said I was writing paper. I was a magician. Oh, glory be to God in the highest. Somebody. Glory be to God. My Lord, Colonel Dehere has tried to justify his appointment. What the fellow is telling the whole world is because I came to the army as a graduate. And so he has a superior commission. There is no doubt about that. But where was he when Lieutenant General Aliyu Muhammad gave me a command appointment when I was a captain to take intelligence troops to Lebanon? The books did not allow that, but the man saw the genius. Where was he when Brigadier General Aliyu Akilu appointed me Commandant Nigerian Army Intelligence School? The books do not allow it. Where was he when Brigadier General Aliyu Akilu appointed me Commandant SSS Training School? Where was he when Brigadier General Kule Togun appointed me Commander Psychological Operations Group? Where was he when Brigadier Ahmed Abdullahi appointed me Director Intelligence Production
Excuse
Center?
us, please. Excuse us.
My Lord,
Excuse me, please. You are here for a purpose.
I have not.
Excuse me. You will find time to finish. Just wait. Was the approval given to you by Colonel Dehere in writing or oral?
Absolutely, it was an oral discussion.
If it was given orally, why?
Well, I took the petition to him, and in his usual way, very, very casual, he said, make you not waste time about this kind of thing. You know, he's a worried man. Make you not do this kind of thing. So I said, fine, what do you want me to do? He said, you are sitting here, Oga, on a bomb matter, bombs are exploding, and you want these formalities. If anything happens, I hold you responsible. So I said, yes, sir. Zombie, he said, yes, sir.
How did you prepare the team that went to Ihiala?
Oh, glory be to God, somebody. Me Lord, I got this team organized, and well, on account of training, and as I was led by God, I now said to them, and this is on record, I said, listen to me, gentlemen, this is an extremely dangerous operation. And therefore, among other things, you are going to have 6 telephone numbers. I had the telephone numbers at home, in the guest house, and the mobile phone of Colonel Idehen. I gave them all the numbers. Then I gave him 2 telephone numbers of my own, and I gave him the telephone number of Colonel Abayomi, who was our commander in Enugu. And I said, when you get to Owerri, see the local intelligence commander. So I gave him 6 telephone lines, and I said, well, when you go, call the boss. Thank God that they called the boss. They didn't call me from Ihiala, and he didn't know.
As an intelligence officer, how will you treat a report of imminent bomb or a situation where Nigerian security may be affected?
With utmost speed. I'd like to give an example from military history. The British people were very stupid in one operation against the Zulus. Now they were fighting and they wanted ammunition. So the quartermaster said, please come and sign here. No, let me try to speak like that. Can you please sign here? They were signing papers and the Zulus overran them. You see, when there's, it is easy, my Lord, in this air-conditioned atmosphere. Everyone is cool, there's no problem. But when you are sitting on a time bomb, you have to act very quickly. In other words, I didn't have the privilege of the calm that we have now. The bombs were flying, so I had to react very quickly. Thank you.
Why was Chief Shuma Nzeribe released? Why was he released?
Good. Interesting point which we have not had mentioned here. I just came to the office on that 23rd day of July, a day that I'll never forget. The day that the devil almost finally got me. And I saw there was a lot of pandemonium. And Colonel Okosun walked up to me and said, sir, we have a problem, but don't you worry, we'll handle it nicely. And I said, what is the problem? He said the acting DMI has asked that that operation be stopped. I said, it's not possible. He said, no, what do you mean? I said, well, he is my junior, he admitted it, and I am in charge of the operation. If he wants to stop it, if he has any brains at all, he will just come and say, you stop it, and I will stop it. Why will he stop it? So I stormed into his office. Well, we thank God that the Bible says his eyes roam around the whole world. So he sees me as I am talking. This fellow, and I use the word fellow advisedly, said, hey, you don't come? I said, yes, I have come. What is the problem? You know, somebody come here, come talk, say, you know, they know the matter. So I stop it. I said, no, sir, you couldn't have done that. And no worry, the matter don't finish. Shebi, you won't go exam. I said, yeah, make her sign the pass. Finish. You know, there was no force about it. So he gave me my pass and said, please go. By the way, when you get to Abuja, make you tell Oga. I said, yes, sir. Only, let me just add this, only to be confronted in Kaduna by riflemen who I discovered, and they can hear me, had instructions to shoot me. Oh, glory be to God. They had clear instructions, say, confront him and shoot him. And the officers are ready to testify. Thank God for General Serki, Abdullahi Serki Mukhtar. Thank God for that quintessential professional infantryman, General Godwin Abi. Those are those who intervened. But they made a mistake. They believed that I was going there and that I would resist arrest. And you can see me even as I speak, that I'm a battle tank. They thought I was going to resist, but I had prayed to God that morning. And I had the Spirit of God clearly, drop your weapon. So I went unarmed. So it was easy to take me like a sissy. They are lucky. Thank you.
Can you describe briefly what happened between 19th, as from 19th to 24th?
My Lord, this operation was to leave on the 15th. I had briefed them, everything was ready. Colonel Idehen was not in station. I think he was roaming around as usual or something. So I told him,
how many more hours are you staying on?
I have just 3 questions, my Lord.
So I told them, gentlemen, you cannot go. The DMI is not around. Everybody in the headquarters knew about this, so we waited. Then on the 16th, when he came, I went to him. We are ready. He said, go. I said, yes, sir. They went. Fortunately, because God is on the throne, when they called for me here, they couldn't get me. So they got the man who is not claiming he didn't know. And they had even his mobile number. So they got him and they discussed. Then they came back on the 19th, and I went to the DMI. Sir, they are back. He said, okay, what did you tell them? I said, continue with the investigation. Only to come round on the 23rd, and for the guy to say, I don't know, anyway, not worry. So that is the sequence. We discussed, I got them ready, we waited for 1 day, then they left. Then they called him for me here and discussed with him. When they came back 21st, I briefed him. 23rd, a strange thing happened.
That is all. Wait. Is it true that Chief Okafor gave you any money for this operation?
Thank God for this opportunity. My Lord, I deny absolutely. I was not given any money. Indeed, I'd like to make one point, my Lord. There was a very detailed investigation into this matter, which everybody is pretending does not exist. They took me in, they investigated the matter. When they concluded the report, they said the only thing they thought that I did wrong was that maybe I was hoping to gain in the future, because they did not find that I got any material benefit. That is what the report said, and it's in Army headquarters.
That is all. Wait. Did you get any BM from Chief Ezego?
My Lord, I do hope that people know that when things happen like this, it is for
as compensation for the operation in Niala.
It is for a purpose. My Lord, this is not the first time. This is not the first time we are hearing this allegation. In 1997, Colonel Den wrote a petition accusing me as a Yoruba man as an ADECO agent. Then he wrote another petition and said I got a BMW car as a reward in 1997. Thank God that all the papers are here. All the papers for that car are here.
Excuse me.
The car that I was supposed to have received. And my Lord, you begin to see some of the things that really shake you now.
Let him show you this paper and explain.
Now your time is up. You can continue tomorrow. Call the next case, please.
My Lord, do I take it that I stand down?
1776. You can come tomorrow and continue.
Okay, sir.